So in this video, I want to talk about different types of word Domiro. But before you can understand that, you need to understand what a Domiro is in case you are watching my video for the first time, because at one point in time I've explained what Domiro is in the previous video, but let's assume you are watching this for the first time. So Domiro, basically, from the popular understanding, from general understanding, Domiro is basically talking about what the querying is asking about, the central themes of the chart. But in short words, it basically means what the querying is asking about, because in Eastern geomancy, it is not necessary for a querent to tell the geomancer what he or she is asking about. A geomancer should be able to know or have idea of what the querent is asking about without being told. And that is the standard practice in Eastern geomancy. So now, I said that is the basic meaning of word domino, even though the meaning is beyond that. But that is just for this elementary sake. So now, the purpose of this video is to make you understand that there are different types of domino. We have the domino of the chart, and we have the domino of the querent. So the domino of the chart and the domino of the querent. So now, what is domino of the chart and what is the domino of the querent? Domino of a chart is basically the domino that the chart. The domino of the chart is the domino that the chart itself pointed out as the central themes or the central focus or the major focus of the chart. That is the domino of the chart. So the domino of the chart is the central themes or the central focus that the chart itself pointed out to place our focus on in relation to what the query is asking about. That is what the domino of the chart. While the domino of the query is what the query has told you as is or our major focus for you to focus on. Can you see? If we now have whenever a chart is casted, we have two major things to place our focus on: the domino of the chart and the domino of the query. The domino of a chart can sometimes be the domino of the querent, but not always, which explains one of the reasons why sometimes when you are looking for domino, you wouldn't find it in where you expect it to be. That's one of the reasons. But domino of a chart can sometimes be the domino of the querent, but it's not always the case. Yes, so when you heard the simple definition that domino is what the query is talking about, it's not always that. It's a good definition of it or good explanation of it, but it's not totally fit in when it comes to in practice or in practical. When it comes to the real practice of the thing, it doesn't always follow suit that way. You understand? So domino of a chart is just like the domino of a chart is what the chart itself is pointing out as the central theme of the chart, or is pointing out as what the geomancer to place major focus on about the chart, or sorry, about what the querent is asking about. That is the meaning of what domino of the a chart. Why domino of the querent is what the querent has told you. Maybe querent comes for you to come and inquire about his child. That is what the domino of the querent. Maybe querent came to you to ask about finance. That is the domino of the querent. Finance will be the domino of that querent. But the domino of the query might not be the same as the domino of the chart. But sometimes the domino of the chart and the domino of the query can tally together. And when the domino of the chart and the domino of the query tallies together, there's usually a problem. There's usually a problem. But that is not the primary purpose of this chart. The primary purpose of this chart is to make you understand there's what we call the domino of the chart and domino of the query. The domino of the chart is what the domino of the chart is what the chart wants to place major focus on. Let me give an example in order to make you to understand this much better. Let's say querent comes about child, come for about a child, and domino, after you have looked for a domino now fall in house 12. So which we'll be talking about which means that the domino of that chart is telling you that the major focus of what the query is asking about should be placed on what witches and wizards or secret enemies. Which means that whatever the querent has told you about whatever the querent has told you that the problem behind it, why it is so, it is witchcraft or the secret enemies or the antagonists. All they are all the same thing as witchcraft. Depending on the society you find yourself. If you are in Europe, you wouldn't call this place witches and wizards. You call it antagonists because there's what we call cultural diversity in geomancy. The meaning of house slightly changes depending on the society to which you are practicing or to person that the query that comes to you. So in Europe, you wouldn't call this one witches and wizards. You will call it antagonist. This is house of antagonists in Europe. It is in Africa that we call this place house of witches and wizards. In a cases like this, so it is Richard. Let me even break this down so that you understand this more extensively. Let's say the querent has come to you, and let's say what the querent comes to you is about sickness. And the Domir of the chart is pointing out what house starting. He's telling you because this is also house of omission when it comes to pharmaceutical reading, pharmaceutical chart. This one is not called house of witches and wizards again. If you are in Europe, if the person is a British or from Western world, this place is house of omission. But if it is in Africa that the person is an African person, and this one we don't call it. This one will be called. This one, and don't let me make this confusing. I said in pharmaceutical something. This one is house of omission. So it means that something is being omitted, and that is why the problem you are having about the earth. And let's say it is an improving earth. The earth is being improved. That means something needs to be more. Something is being omitted. That is why you are seeing good improvement on the earth. But if the earth is getting degenerated, the earth is getting bad, and Domino is telling you that our major focus should be placed on this house 12, it means that something is being omitted. That is why the earth is getting bad. But let's say the earth, from what the querent has told you, from the Domino of the querent has told you that the earth is getting improved. That means, and carefulness should be made on that thing which is being omitted, because this is one. We have noisy house, as we have Saidi house, we have noisy house. This is one of the noisy house. Despite the fact that there's an improvement, carefulness should be. I'm digressing. The major purpose of this chart, I might be explaining that in another video or something, but the major focus of this chart is to make you understand that there's what we call the Domiro of the chart and the Domiro of the querent. The Domiro of the chart tell us where we should place our focus on in order to understand in order to have a better understanding of the chart we are interpreting. You understand why the Domiro of the querent is telling us what the querent is basically came to, which of course you don't necessarily need to look for. Querent has come for you that is asking about money. You just need to go out to our house too. But the Domino of the chart will give you a better clue. So which means that when you interpret a chart, look for the Domino of the Domino of the chart in order for you to understand, to have a better understanding of that query. You have to look for the Domino of that chart in order to understand the word. So which means that the Domino of the chart makes us to have a better clue, a better understanding about what the querent has came to inquire about. So I hope this help. Thank you for sharing the video. May God bless you miraculously.